Use this microphone.
Okay.
And Yrjö Länsipuro was basically the brainmaster who finally got that event here in Finland and in Tampere. So I think it's fitting for him to give you an overview of, how it went and so on.
Thank you, Aleksi. Hyvää huomenta, good morning, or morning, as we say here in the local dialect of Tampere. Okay, thank you, Aleksi, for asking me to take a few minutes of your time to talk about EuroDIG, or European Dialogue on Internet Governance. Some of you, well, Alex was there actually at a presentation, and many of you probably know about EuroDIG, but just to give some background to why there is such a series of conferences. WSIS 2003-2005, almost 20 years ago. Of course, the World Summit of Information Society was the first time questions related to information society and also telecommunications came on the high political table. And of course it was a question of bridging the digital divide and so on and so forth. But actually the most important political question of that meeting was internet governance. And I would say the usual suspects, Russia and China, wanted to have the internet under the governance of the United Nations and more specifically ITU. And of course we were a few who opposed that idea, including of course the United States and Western countries as a whole, Europe. So finally the compromise was set up, which consisted of 3 parts. There was going to be something called enhanced cooperation. Nobody knew what it actually would be. It was one of those diplomatic ambiguities that can be used to reach sort of divides and gaps of understanding. But then the concrete result was Internet Governance Forum, which was going to be a multi-stakeholder event where all the stakeholders, the private sector, government, civil society, technical community, academic community, could talk to each other, could meet and actually exchange views and opinions and inform each other what is going on, and also create outcomes that would then benefit those who actually make decisions at the various decentralized places where decisions are going to be made. So IGF, Internet Governance Forum, was set up. It has been successful since 2006 every year, and not only that, but it got a lot of followers. It was like a tree that brings good fruit, and actually among the fruit were dozens of regional internet forums and I would say hundreds probably of national ones. EuroDIG, European Dialogue on Internet Governance, is one of them, set up 2008, and it has convened every year ever since. It's some of you are probably familiar with the IGF project and how they gather proposals for sessions and workshops. Our approach is a little bit different, where we're setting up a request for proposals, not for specific sessions and workshops, but actually themes. And then we have a team that puts the conference together from those, creates clusters from the proposals. This time, the theme of the conference, I think appropriate enough, was Internet in troubled times, risk, resilience, and hope. And under that scheme, and in that framework, we were talking about the impact of the war in Ukraine, impact of the Russian aggression in Ukraine on the internet, but also how the use of internet has really changed the war. That was one of the topics, and related to that, there were presentations about the amazing resiliency shown by the infrastructure in Ukraine, and what we could learn from that. For instance, in Finland, when we prepare for, when we try to hike our preparedness. The second topic was fragmentation. Of course, fragmentation has been a topic forever, but at least I think that it became clear that when we talk about fragmentation, we talk about many different things on very different layers and so on and so forth. And the third item was what is going on with platforms, social media, and so on and so forth, talking about fediverse, for instance, how even governments perhaps could go from the monopoly of Twitter of their communications to a federated structure of social media. Talked about the regulation, the whole package of regulation in Europe, and finally the importance of social media for democracy, or a threat to democracy, whatever it is. I can't go into the substance. I don't want to take too much of your time, but perhaps I want to mention one thing. There's also a EuroDIG connected to the EuroDIG. That is to say, since 2017, each EuroDIG has been preceded by a weekend where 20 to 30 young people are brought together, and during the weekend they have a sort of intensive internet governance one-on-one with, and then finally they take part into the EuroDIG. So I think I'll stop here. I just hope that from your community we would have more participation in EuroDIG, either on a place wherever it is. Next will be in Poland, but of course it's full remote participation, of course. And for instance, this year in Tampere we had about 300 actually on site, but we have had more than 400 registration for online participation. So thank you very much. Thanks.